And then other jobs that I'm going to be getting on with today, look at those roots, is potting up the last of my autumn jump starter Ranunculus. This is a butterfly Ranunculus and I've got buds already. So with butterfly Ranunculus, they just need a container of their own and plenty of space to grow. It's going to look magnificent in this container. Now it is tempting to use something beautiful like a terracotta pot. However, the problem with these is they are porous. So for Ranunculus and Anemones, which are not drought tolerant, you don't want to be using pots like this. Because what happens is when you water the plant, the moisture comes out of the side of the pots. And that's the reason why they're in the shed. I've kept them bone dry over the winter because if they get wet and then we get a very cold spell, that water in the sides of the pot will expand, and that's how you end up with cracked pots. So no terracotta for your Ranunculus or your Anemones. You need something that's really going to hold on to the water for you. There we go. Doesn't that look nice? So I'm going to water him in, and then the compost level may well drop, so I'll top that up. I can leave him to bask in a sheltered spot, not direct sunshine, just dappled sunshine, not too windy. These plants have not been hardened off yet, so they just need a few hours in the breeze, and they are not frost tolerant, so the leaves and the flower buds will get burned if they're exposed to frost. So you want to make sure that you continue to protect them just as you have all winter. On to my rose-shaped Ranunculus. Look at those roots. So I'm going to put 3 per pot into my tin bucket, and I think that's going to look really lovely. Look at that. Before I fill the compost in, I just thought I'd show you. You can see how much more room they're each going to have. So they'll be able to really spread out and produce loads of flowers for us. It's late winter and I am settling in the butterfly Ranunculus into their final flowering positions. Look at those roots, absolutely fantastic. So now you can see why I recommend a 1 litre container for starting off the corms, because they grow very, very big indeed. Fabulous. Just doing a little bit of deadheading in the polytunnel, but I think I can do this one. I think this flower, look, it's gone to sleep. This flower is going to have to stay. I'll deadhead around you, don't worry. Thought you might like a quick update on my pots here, my Ranunculus. So they don't have any protection other than the fact they're just stood in the greenhouse. They haven't got any fleece, they're not on a heat mat or anything. The greenhouse is enough. They have grown already. They've only been here a few days. Look at the length of that stem, for goodness sake. I thought I'd bring you into the polytunnel to explain. So these plants are really thirsty, and we've been so trained not to overwater all winter. We forget that actually the light levels have changed now and the sun is a lot warmer when it does come out. Now, if you underwater your plants, let me just bring you up so you can see. If you underwater the plants, the foliage will collapse. So if you've got really sad looking plants, it's because they're dehydrated. Now they will recover. The problem occurs when the stems get dehydrated. Some stems here for you to see. If they get dehydrated, what will happen is the bud will just simply fold in half, and there is no coming back from that. The plant won't die, but the plant's trying to save itself, so it will sacrifice the bud. And no matter how much you water it, that bud is gone. So you'll have to then cut it off down at the base and wait for the next flower. So keep an eye on them. I check mine every day, and sometimes they need watering and sometimes they don't. And sometimes I have to spot water. But that's absolutely fine by me. I just want to take care of my plants. They're looking absolutely brilliant, aren't they? here is my anemone patch. I mean, just look how tall these stems are. There are just so many more buds coming through. So these also need quite a bit of water, not as much as the Ranunculus. Don't use up quite as much because the leaves are actually a lot more delicate and ferny. They don't hold as much water. If you suddenly see your stems actually just start to lean, that is a warning sign that they're starting to run out of water. They'll start to lean. So if you catch them then, water them quickly, they'll be absolutely fine. But if you leave them too long, they will literally collapse in half. The stem will lose all of its strength and it will just fold in half at a point on the stem, and that unfortunately would be curtains for your buds. So you've been warned. Keep an eye on them. It's a lot warmer in the greenhouse than you realise. I think it was 27 degrees yesterday for a period. This is the rose, and just look at the stems, absolutely magnificent.